Hello and welcome back to App for You. In this particular video, I'm going to discuss a very important problem from dynamic programming, and the problem is minimum sum partition, right? So before we dive into the problem, I think it's very important to make you aware of the prerequisite of this video. So I hope you have already watched my video on subset sum problem, right? The subset sum problem. So remember, we are just trying to complete the topics in a serial order such that each problem that has been discussed earlier is related, or you can say is going to help in the very next problem that we are going to discuss. So if I just show you the videos that I'm talking about, they are, so you can clearly see the videos that I have published recently are the subset sum problem. Very important, please go through this particular video because this will help you to understand what is the subset sum problem, because the concepts of the subset sum problem itself was used. 95% of the code was similar, right? And the same code was used in the partition equal subset also, right? And again, the same basically was also used in the perfect sum problem also, right? So I have recently, just now I have published this video, so I'm just making a new video again. So you will find out that the problem that we are going to discuss right now, the minimum sum partition, that is inspired from this subset sum problem. So prerequisite, this particular video is a must watch, subset sum problem. All right, fine. So having said that, let us now jump into the problem statement. So minimum sum partition, what does it say? It says that basically you are provided with an array ARR of size n. Okay, so we have an array of size n. The task is to divide the array or the set of elements into two sets, okay, S1 and S2. So we will be having two partitions. One set will be S1, another will be S2, such that the absolute difference between their sums is minimum. Okay, the absolute difference between their sum will be minimum, and we have to find the minimum difference also, right? So what does it want to say is basically, you can clearly see this is an example that they have given. So there is an array of 4 elements, 1, 6, 11 and 5. So you need to basically create two partitions of this element. Two partitions in the sense, you can clearly say you need to create two subsets from this element, from this array basically, from the elements in this array. Okay, from the elements in this array, create two subsets. One subset is S1, another is named S2, such that the sum of all the elements in S1, so sum of S1 and sum of all the elements in S2, sum of S2, if you find out the difference, okay, the absolute difference between sum of S1 minus sum of S2, it should be minimum, as minimum as possible. Are you getting the point? So the objective is to create two partitions such that the sum of the elements here, and so that is such that the difference, basically the difference of the sum of the elements in this set and the sum of the elements in this set, so the difference should be basically as minimum as possible. So one very good example they have taken is 1, 6, 11 and 5. So they basically created two partitions. In one partition they took the elements 1, 5 and 6. So basically they took 1, 5, 6 here, and in another partition they took what, in some S2, in another partition they took 11 only. So remember, the original array had 1, 6, 5, 11, 5 and 11. So 1, 5, 6 was taken above, 11 was taken below. Sum of all the elements in this group is again 12. Sum of all the elements in this group is 11. The difference of 12 and 11 is what? 1. And this is the minimum difference possible. What if you created a subset like 1 and 11, suppose here, and another you created a subset of suppose 6 comma 5? This is also fine. This will also give you 12, this will also give you 11, and the difference will be 1. So it's fine, the minimum possible difference is 1. Okay, if you create a group like suppose 11 and 6 S1, and S2 you created suppose 1 and 5, in this case you can see this is equal to 17 and this is equal to 6, and the difference is equal to how much? 11, and that is not minimum, right? The minimum difference is 1 only, and 1 is the correct answer. Fine. So I hope you got the idea about what is happening. Now how do we approach this particular problem of minimum sum partition? Okay, so the logic is really very simple. What is the logic? Let us discuss. So let me just write the problem that is given here. The question that they have given here is, we have an array and the elements are 1, 6, 11 and 5. Done. Coming to the discussion. So now we are going to basically have a mathematical discussion completely. Alright. So we know that given an array of elements, now we need to create two partitions. What are the partitions? Basically they will be S1 and S2. And you know that all the elements here should be part of one partition, right? Should be present in one of the partitions. Okay, means there you cannot leave any element unallocated, means you have to allocate them to one of the partitions. Now how many partitions we can have? We need two partitions only, s1 s2. So these elements can be in s1 or s2, this can be in s1 s2, this can be in s1 or s2, this can be in s1 or s2. Okay, the objective is each one of them should be in one of the partitions. So obviously it is obvious from this that if we are giving if you are just creating partitions, two partitions, this has some elements of this array, this has the remaining elements of this array, then it is obvious that one expression is always to be valid. S1 plus S2 is equal to sum. Don't you think so? The sum of the elements in the first partition plus sum of the elements in the second partition is equal to going to give you the sum of all the elements in the array. Don't you think so? Sum of all the elements in the first partition plus sum of all the elements in the second partition is going to give you the sum of is equal to the sum of all the elements in this particular array. This is obvious, right? Fine. What we have to find now, we need to find such that absolute difference of s1 minus s2 is equal to as minimum as possible. Okay, and what is s1? This will be a subset sum. What is s2? This is also a subset sum, isn't it? Subset sum. Are you getting the point? So s1 is also a subset sum. It is nothing but a subset sum. Okay, and s2 is also nothing but a subset sum. Okay, and we know that the difference of this should be minimum. Now what is the maximum subset sum possible? The maximum subset sum possible is what? When you take all the elements of the array, when all elements are considered to be a subset. Okay, means when we are taking the entire set, means like 1, 6, 11 and 5 are there. If I take the entire set only 1, 6, 11 and 5 as s1 and suppose s2 is empty, so this is also a valid subset, isn't it? This is also a valid partition. Okay, so the maximum sum possible will be what? Equal to the sum of all the elements of the array. This is the maximum subset sum possible, is equal to sum. And what is sum? Sum is basically sum of all the elements of the array. Done. And the minimum subset sum possible, the minimum subset sum possible is equal to what? The empty array, right? 0. I hope you're getting the point. So what I am interested in right now, I said that we are interested in finding two partitions such that the subset sum of this partition and the subset sum of this partition, when you find the absolute difference, that should be minimum as possible. Done. First thing that strikes in our mind is when I am creating two partitions, I will get one subset sum here, another subset sum here, and the difference of the subset sum, the absolute difference, basically ABS, the absolute difference of the subset sum should be as minimum as possible, right? So can't we use the concept of the subset sum problem to solve this particular problem? Yes, we can use. Why? Now the question is we just now found out that the maximum subset sum possible is equal to the sum of all the elements of the array. The minimum subset sum possible is equal to 0, because if the array is empty, then the minimum possible is 0. If you take all the elements of the array as a subset, then that will give you the maximum subset sum, which is nothing but the sum of all the elements of the array. Done. So basically you found out that the subset sums will basically be in a range. Don't you think so? The subset sum will be in a range. The sum will be in a range of what? 0 to maximum sum. What is the maximum sum here? 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 5 is 12, plus 11 is 23, right? I hope this is correct. Yeah, 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 11 is 18, plus 5 is 23. So 0 to 23 are the possible subsets, are the subset sums range, not possible. Please remember in mind. These are the subset sum range. The minimum sum can be 0 and the maximum is 23. Now within that we can have 1, 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and so on till 23. Now the challenge is basically, let me explain you more clearly. So I hope by now whatever I have discussed is clear. What I have discussed is basically about the maximum possible subset sum, because we know that what we need to find is, we are given an array, we need to create two partitions such that the difference of the subset sum of this partition and the subset sum of this partition should be minimum as possible. right? So we know that S1 is nothing but a subset sum, S2 will also be nothing but a subset sum. Now the question is, what is the maximum subset sum possible? It is equal to the total array sum, isn't it? Because that is the maximum subset possible, maximum subset. The minimum subset is the empty set, whose value is 0. So you got the range of the subset sum values that are possible. Not possible, the range of the subset sum value within which the subset sum will lie. Minimum 0, maximum sum. Now one important thing to discuss is basically, let me erase this. So this is a very important thing that I'm going to discuss. So I'm just creating a big array. We know that we are starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Great. So things will be very clear, don't worry. Let me just write this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me just pause the video. Alright, so the table has been created. Now please focus here what is going on. We just now, again I'm repeating this problem statement. An array is given. We need to basically find two partitions, not partitions basically. Now we know that there will be two partitions basically that will be formed, and we need to find out the minimum difference that is possible. Okay, the minimum difference between the partitions that is possible. And what is this? This is nothing but a subset sum. This is also nothing but a subset sum, because obviously this will contain a subset, this will also contain a subset, and the sum of all the elements of this will be the subset sum. Sum of all the elements in this subset will be the subset sum. So basically we need to find out the minimum subset sum difference possible. Okay, because when you are creating two partitions, you will be having two subsets, one here, one here. What is the minimum difference between the two subsets possible? Fine. The next point that we noticed was, what is S1 and what is S2? So S1 is nothing but a subset sum. What is S2? S2 is also nothing but a subset sum. Our objective is basically that the difference between S1 and S2 should be minimum as possible. So we first of all found out what is S1. S1 is a subset sum. What is S2? S2 is also a subset sum. Next, what are the range of values of the subset sum? So we know that the maximum subset sum possible is 23. Why 23? Because it is nothing but equal to sum of all the elements of the array for this particular problem. This is the array 1, 6, 11 and 5. So maximum subset sum possible will be 23, because when you take the entire elements in the array as one subset, and the minimum is the empty subset will be 0. So 0 to 23, this is a range. So whatever subset sum you take, whatever subset sum is present, either subset sum of S1 or subset sum of S2, both of them will basically lie in the range 0 to 23. Done. Now if you refer to this particular now what we can do is basically, now we can apply the problem or the function of check subset sum, right? You remember we have discussed subset sum exists or not, the subset sum problem. So how do we basically calculate the check subset sum? So in the check subset sum, what happens is basically, we have already discussed the video. Let me just erase this entire thing. Okay, so if you remember, what we did was, we basically had created this matrix, sum matrix controlled by J, and basically controlled by I. So number of elements in the array, sum that you want, subset sum that you want to check whether it can be possible in the array or not, right? So basically you are provided with an array of n elements, and you need to check basically whether a particular subset sum exists or not. So what is the problem? That problem was nothing but subset sum problem, right? So what we did in the subset sum problem, we were creating this table. I hope you're getting the point. In the subset sum problem, we were basically creating this table. So same thing we will be doing. We will be just writing the exact same code of the subset sum problem. So how did we write the subset sum problem code? So I'll be just writing the subset sum problem code first, then I'll be explaining you. So if you remember the subset sum problem code, what we did was, initially we declared now we are receiving what? Two things as input. What we are receiving is integer n as input. And remember, in the subset sum problem, we also needed a sum value, right? Sum value. Now what is the sum as per our problem? The sum basically we are going to refer is, we are going to create a table, this entire table, and the sum should be 23. Sum should be 23 because according to this problem. So which means sum is nothing but sum of all the elements in the array. So let me calculate the sum first. So for that I'll be just saying integer I, comma j, comma sum equal to 0, suppose. Now I am calculating the sum. Calculate the sum of all elements in the array. Done. How do I do so? So you'll be just running a loop for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Done. Let me write capital N because we have been using capital N throughout, so you will be basically be comfortable in finding the similarity. So capital N. Done. So what I'm going to do is here I'm just going to find out the sum of all the elements of the array. So sum plus equal to array of I. Done. So you are now, you know that now you have two things in with you. What are the two things? You know that you have number of elements in the array as n, and the sum that I need to check whether the subset has a sum sum or not, right? So now you need two things, n and a sum, for the subset sum problem. If you remember, in the subset sum problem, the problem was given an array of n elements, whether a particular sum exists or not, whether a particular subset sum exists or not, you need to calculate, right? So obviously if the I'm talking about the sum of all the elements of the array, right, sum of all the elements of the array, if sum is equal to sum of all the elements of the array, then this will the subset definitely exist. But anyway, my main objective right now is to create this table. Okay, my main objective, okay, my main objective right now is to create this table. So how do I create this table? So in order to create this table, I know that this table can be created using the function of subset sum problem, because remember in the subset sum problem what I was passing was the number of elements in the array and the required sum. So required sum is 23 and number of elements in the array is 4. So using that I will basically write a function to just create this table. So how do we create the table? dp of n plus 1 and sum plus 1, right? Done. But we just created the table, but at the same time now I also want the table to be filled by true or false, that thing, true or false thing. So basically this particular table should be boolean type. Done. Now how do you think we filled it with true or false? If you remember the subset sum problem, we know that this entire column was true and this entire row was basically false. If you remember, it's quite big, but anyway, this is false. Okay, this entire row was false and the entire column was true. Same thing, this is what we did in the subset sum problem. Now how did we do that? We basically did in the initialization step. In the initialization step, what did we do? We said that for j equal to 0, j less than equal to sum, say j plus plus, and just say that dp of the first row, and in all the columns you will be getting what? 0. Done. Same thing we are going to write for I also. For I is equal to 0, I less than equal to n, because I is controlled by n, I plus plus, sorry. Done. And all the elements in the first column, so first column means ith row and 0th column, that's it, should be equal to what? True. I hope you got the point. So this is what we were doing, and this was basically false, not 0, this was false. So remember, I am referring to which problem? The subset sum problem. I am referring to which problem? Subset sum problem. So far I am writing the exact same code of the subset sum. This was done in the subset sum. Now I had the number of elements in the array, but I didn't had the sum. So for getting the sum, I just found out sum of all the elements of the array, sum. So now I will be basically using this sum and the number of elements to create the matrix. I created the matrix. Now it's time to fill the matrix. How do you fill the matrix? First of all, you complete the initialization step in the subset sum problem. How did we do? In this way. Next thing was, you remember we used for loop. How did we use a for loop? We said for I is equal to 0, I not 0, now I'll start from 1, right? If you remember, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. Now similarly you will have the j loop for j is equal to 1, j less than equal to sum, j plus plus. Done. What did we do again? Very simple, the same thing we are doing again and again in all the problems. Array of I minus 1, I hope you can understand now what I am doing. If it is less than equal to the sum that I need, then what will I do? There are two possibilities. dpij is equal to exact same code. We did dp I minus 1 because it is the accepting case, j minus array of I minus 1. I hope it is not visible. Anyway, let me just move it upwards. Yeah, so I hope it is visible now. So this is the accepting case, dp I minus 1, j minus array of I minus 1. Okay, and remember this is a subset sum problem I am writing. So or dp of I minus 1 and j. So again I need to write it upwards. Anyway, let me just rub this. Fine. So I hope you got the point. The problem now, see, I am not writing the code for this particular problem so far. This entire code is very similar to the subset sum problem, 95% similar. Okay, this now whatever I have done so far, this from here till here is a subset sum problem, nothing new. Okay, the entire problem here, whatever I'm writing, is the subset sum problem. I just now consider the case when I am accepting an element or rejecting an element. Two choices were there, right? If you remember, we had used the OR operator for accepting the case and for rejecting case. Similarly, if the element that you are referring to is found to be more than the sum, then we are doing what? Rejecting it. So rejecting case means dp of just reduce the size of the problem and j remains the same. Done. And finally, we used to return what? dp of n and sum, right? But the point to be noted is, as I said, my objective in this particular problem is I am just interested in finding the table. I am just I am just interested in completing the table. So in order to complete the table, you just need this thing. You don't need to write the return thing. I'm not interested in returning anything. I'm just interested in completing the table. So since this this nested for loop will complete my table, so I will be finally be having a table. Okay, I'll be having a table like this. These all values will be filled. The last row will also be filled. So now, if you have an array 1, 6, 11 and 5, what does it say? This cell will say that with 4 elements in the array, 1, 6, 11 and 5, can you have a sum of 1? Definitely sum of 1, subset sum 1 can be possible. So this will be true. Can you have with all the elements in the array? Okay, this means what? Referring to all the elements of the array. Can you have a subset sum 2? Not possible, so false. This is true, this is false. Can you have a subset sum 3 from here? Not possible, false. Subset sum 4, not possible. Subset sum 5 is possible. Subset sum 6 is also possible. 5 is there, 6 is there. Subset sum 7 is possible by taking these two into account. Subset sum 8 is not possible. 9 is possible, not possible. 10 is possible, not possible. 11 is possible. Yes, 11 is possible. 12 is also possible. 11 is already there. 11 plus 1, 12 is already there. 13 is possible, not possible. 14 is also not possible. 15 not possible, so these are not possible. 16, yes, possible. 11 plus 5 will give you 16, and 17, 11 plus 6 will give you 17, possible. 18, 11 plus 6 is 17 plus 1 is 18, possible. 19 is not possible. 20 again is not possible. 21 is possible. By taking 11 plus 6, you will get 17 plus 5, 22, right? So 21 is also not possible. Sorry, this will be false. 21 is not possible. 22, is it possible? 22 is possible, yes. 6 plus 5, 11 plus 11, 22 is possible. 23 is also possible, because you're taking all the elements in the array. 23 you will get possible. Now, why am I focusing more on the last row? Why am I focusing on more on the last row? Now, if you carefully understand the problem that we discussed, was basically, let me just erase all these things. Now we are not interested in these things. So if you just focus, what we were saying is, we have an array what did we had? Basically 1, 5, 6 and 11, right? Yeah, this is the array, right? So now we were interested in creating two partitions. Now each partition will be nothing but a subset sum. We also found out what is the range of the subset sum. The range of the subset sum can be 0 to 23 at max. At max it can be 23, in minimum it can be 0. Now within 0 to 23, do you think all these subset sums are possible in this array? We clearly saw that in this array subset sum 3 is not possible, because you cannot form a subset sum of 3, right? We also saw that a subset sum of 13 is also not possible, because here using these elements you cannot create a subset sum 13, not possible, which means that not all the subset sums are possible in this range. So we are interested in finding out only those subset sums which are possible. So which are the subset sums that are possible? You can see, taking all the elements in the array into account, this particular row of this table, whichever elements are true, these are the subset sums that are actually possible, right? These are the subset sums that are actually possible. So what will I do now is, basically I will set now for each of these subset sums which are true. Okay, you can see what are the subset sums that are possible. Let me just now write the subset sums that are possible. So suppose the possible subset sums are 1, next is 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 22, 23. Done. This is a subset sum that is possible. 1, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 22 and 23. Now this is nothing but a subset sum. Suppose this is subset sum S1. What will be subset sum S2? if you know that this is a subset sum 1, subset sum S1 is 1, what will be subset sum S2? Subset sum S2 will be nothing, but you know that S1 plus S2 is equal to sum of all the elements of the array. Then S2 will be nothing but sum minus S1. And you know that sum is nothing but right now 23 for this example that we took. Right? Our example was basically 1, 5, 6 and 11. For this example, sum is nothing but 23. So 23 minus each of these elements will give you the subset sum S2 also. This is nothing but subset sum S1, this entire thing. And you need to find now subset sum S2. So this will be 22. 23 minus 1 is 22. 23 minus 5 will give you what? 23 minus 5 will give you 18. 23 minus 6 will give you 17. 23 minus 7 will give you 16. 23 minus 11 will give you 12. 23 minus 12 will give you 11. 23 minus 16 will give you 7. 23 minus 17 will give you what? 6. 23 minus 18 will give you what? 5. 23 minus 22 will give you what? 1. 23 minus 23 will give you what? 0. Fine. But what we need to find is basically the minimum difference possible, right? So what we can do is, fine. So just now we saw that once we were able to find out what are the possible subset sum that can be present with these elements in the array 1, 5, 6 and 11, what are the possible subset sum that can be formed. So you found out that the last row of this table, which you have created with the help of the function of subset sum, all those elements which are giving true, these are actually the subset sum that are possible. So this was basically this one, the upper one. You can name it as S1, right, because this is the first partition. Then what will be the value in the second partition? Definitely, since we know that the sum of two partition is equal to sum, the second partition will be sum minus the first partition subset sum. So 23 minus each of them will give you these things. So this is basically S2. Now our objective is to find out that absolute of S1 minus S2 should be minimum. So just find out the absolute difference between the S1 and S2. So 22 minus 1 will give you 21. 18 minus 5 will give you 13. 17 minus 6 will give you 11. 16 minus 7 will give you 9. 12 minus 11 will give you 1. 12 minus 11 will give you 1. Again, 16 minus 7 will give you 9. 17 minus 6 will give you 11. 18 minus 5 will give you 13. 22 minus 1 will give you 21. 23 minus 0 will give you 23. What is the minimum subset sum? The minimum subset sum was 1. Either this or this, any one. So the minimum difference of the subset sum was found to be 1. Are you getting the point? Now how did we do that? So first of all, what will we do is basically, I will be writing the code for this now. So the code for this will be very simple. So remember, so far whatever I did from here till here, so far I am just using the code of the subset sum. So till here, from here till here, this was the code of subset sum. Remember, subset sum problem. Why? Because I was interested in creating a table, okay, and I wanted to check that what are the subset sums that are possible from 0 to 23. So you can see the last row, whichever are true, that are actually the subset sum that are possible using all the elements of the array. Done. Now we are interested in considering only the true values. So for that, after the table is created, we know that by now table is already created. So I will say for I is equal to 0, let us say not I, j only, because j is moving across the columns. J less than equal to sum, j plus plus. Done. What is the next thing I'll be doing? I'll say integer minimum is equal to int max. Suppose, okay, minimum will keep track of the minimum value. Now minimum will be equal to nothing but minimum of what? The current minimum, comma, what do you think it will be? Current minimum, comma, let me just move it upwards so that you can see it. Okay, so minimum equal to minimum, and let me just erase this thing. I hope you have understood these things right now, so no need to write it again. Yeah, so minimum will be equal to minimum, comma. Now you know that what I am doing right now, I am just traversing the last row. Okay, I am just interested in traversing the elements of the last row, So what will I do is basically, let me think for a good logic. I want to find out the difference between S1 and S2. So I can say that minimum of absolute difference between dp of the fourth row and jth column element. Okay, this is done, minus, you know, sum minus dp of 4j. I hope this will work. Yes, this will work. See, thing is very simple, nothing to get worried. So basically this is pointing to the each of the element whenever you are getting true. Okay, so I should write here if dp of 4, basically I should not write 4, basically I should write n, right, isn't it? N of because what is the last row? Last row is nothing but nth row. N, last row is nothing but n. N was equal to 4, isn't it? So last row is nothing but n. So dp n comma j I should write. Yes, it's good. Dp n comma j. So if dp n comma j, when you are traversing the last row, if it is found to be true, means that subset sum is possible. Now when that subset sum is possible, what you should do? Basically find out the equivalent S2 also. So absolute difference of this was basically what? The S1. This is S1. This entire thing is S1. And sum minus S1 will give you what? S2. The absolute difference of S1 and S2, comma minimum. Whichever is minimum, store it into the minimum variable. Fine. So this will keep on being processed. And at the end, finally, what we should return is return the minimum value. That's it. Right. So meanwhile, you can see what will happen. I will be just using this for loop. I'll be traversing the elements of the last row, right? So dp n comma j, is it true? Yes, it is true. If it is true, then we know that this is S1, dp4. So this would be n again. Sorry. To generalize it, it will be n, and this will also be n, right? Done. So you can clearly see dp n comma j. This is one of the partition S1. What will be S2? S2 will be sum minus dp n comma j. The difference of these two which should be minimum. So find out the absolute difference. If it is minimum, then update it. Right? The minimum value should be updated into minimum variable. And finally, we are going to return the minimum. So I think we are done with the code. So here it is. We are closing the braces. Yeah, let's bring them up. Yeah, it's fine now. So this is how this particular problem is going to actually work. Let us see whether we can compile and run it successfully if you have not done any silly mistake. Okay, so a little bit of silly mistakes somewhere. Let us check what is the mistake. Line number 41, 43. Okay, let us just revise from the beginning, and I'm just going to erase this thing. Alright, so what did we do? We had I, j, sum equal to 0, fine. We were interested in finding the sum, so we stored the sum in some variable. And then what did we do? We created a boolean matrix dp n plus 1 sum plus 1. You can see this table that we are creating. Now the time for initialization. How did we initialize? We initialized this thing by this step. This was the approach for initialization. I hope there is no doubt with this. And same as the substitute sum problem. Then we were interested in basically filling the table. Now, in order to fill the table, you need to do this, right? How do we do this? We have already discussed this in the substitute sum problem. So moving 1 to n, j1 to sum. If it is less than equal to j, then the accepting case and the rejecting case, or in the between, else dpij equal to dpi minus 1j. Very good. This is done. The table will be created by now. After the table is created, you declare a variable integer min equal to int max, j equal to 0, j less than equal to some j plus plus. Now if dp and j is equal to found to be true, what do? We say minimum equal to minimum of absolute difference of let me just bring it above, dp n comma j minus sum of minus dp n comma j. Yeah, it is fine. I don't think there's any issue with this. Okay, so we should close this here also. Yeah, and then semicolon. Yeah, it's fine now. So let us compile the code. So I think a bit mistake is there somewhere, because the answer should be 1. So let us see where is the mistake. Okay, so one important thing to note is see, a very silly mistake. Boolean dp. Now this is a boolean type matrix, right? This is a boolean type matrix. Now what I'm doing is I'm saying dp n comma j. What will it point to? It will point to the boolean value, isn't it? dp n comma j will point to the boolean variables, but I'm not interested in pointing to these values. If it is true, I'm interested in pointing to its corresponding j value. If it is true, I'm interested in pointing to its corresponding j value, isn't it? So we need to modify the last line. What we need to do is this should be replaced by j, okay, minus sum minus j. I hope you got the point. A very silly mistake we were doing. So since it is a boolean type matrix, now we are not interested in finding out the value in this cell. We are in, whenever we are getting that cell has a value true, whenever that cell has a value true in the last row, basically, whenever that cell has a value true, immediately point out to the corresponding j value, because that is a sum which indicates that this subset sum is possible in this array. Okay, using all the elements of the array, using all the elements of this array, this subset sum is possible. That is why this is true. So what is that? That is j. So j is s1. It is possible. If s1 is j, then what will be s2? S2 will be sum minus j. Now you find out the absolute difference between these two. Okay, and keep on updating your minimum value. Now it should work fine. So if I compile the code, the answer should be 1, because we got 1, isn't it? Yeah, we are getting 1. Now submit the code. So the problem has been successfully executed. What is the time complexity? Definitely we are creating a table of order n cross. We are creating a table of order n, you can see, cross sum. So this is the time complexity will be basically time complexity is of order n cross sum. Why? You can see that this is a nested loop n cross sum. Then the space complexity is also order of n cross sum. You can see the table is in front of you. Fine. So that's all for this particular video. I hope you got the intuition how the concepts of the previous problem can be solved, can be used in this particular problem. So this particular problem had basically was the objective was to find out the minimum difference of the partitions. Right, the things are very clear. I have already explained each and everything in detail. So you can just see. Just let me give you an overview. Yeah. So from the top till this part, right, till this part, the entire code is exactly same as which code? The subset sum problem. You can see I didn't do any changes. This is nothing but a subset sum problem. After I used the subset sum problem just to create the table, what was the sum that I took? Sum I took was 23, because I know that the maximum sum possible, subset sum possible, is 23, and I was basically interested to find out what subset sums from 0 to 23 are basically possible with all the elements of the array. For that I need to take a sum of 23. That is why I created a matrix with sum after calculating the sum of all the elements of the array. The values, now we are, after we create the table, we are interested in finding the last row. We are interested in dealing with the last row. That is why whenever I was just traversing the entire last row, basically whenever I found out that it is true, it indicates that that can be one of the sum, that can be one of the partition, that can be the one of the partition subset sum. So if it was found to be true in this case 1, then if I found out that 1 is one of the possible partition of subset sum, what will be the another subset sum partition? 22. Right, now the difference of these two I'm just keeping track in this line, isn't it? So you can just see absolute of j minus sum minus j. That's it. The minimum will be updated, and finally at the end we will be returning the minimum. So that's all from this particular video. I hope this video was helpful. In case of any doubt, please feel free to put it out in the comment section, and just like, share and subscribe. Thank you.